report to him. He said earliest it was 12:22 that the individual ran across, set up, took the shot. And I said, well, you must have been there, because he then sends me I wanted to see all of the metadata of when he took that footage. And the metadata begins at 12:22 and goes into 12:23, the very minute that Charlie gets shot. And he says, yeah, I saw the shot. I had just stopped recording about 20 seconds before the shot rang out. And he said that he told them a description of what the shooter looked like. And it was not the description that the entire world received less than 24 hours later of this person, Tyler Robinson, wearing jeans. I said, was he wearing jeans? He said, no. Actually, this person was dressed in tactical gear and he was wearing a face mask.
2 weeks ago, in Utah, a shocking event sent shockwaves across America. Charlie Kirk, a political powerhouse, an outspoken conservative figure, was gunned down in cold blood. Within hours, a suspect was named Tyler Robinson. The headlines were quick to declare the case solved. Robinson was arrested, and prosecutors claimed he even confessed to the public. It seemed simple. A troubled young man, a rifle, a deadly motive, end of story. But is it really that simple? When you start peeling back the layers, the cracks in this story are impossible to ignore. Witness accounts don't line up, timelines are blurred, and crucial evidence raises more questions than answers. We're talking about a trapdoor found at the very spot where Robinson was cornered. We're talking about a video allegedly showing another man sprinting away with a backpack, possibly containing the murder weapon. We're talking about a rifle found not in plain sight, but hidden near a chicken coop by an abandoned house tied to Utah Valley University. And yet, the FBI insists Robinson was the lone gunman. They say he confessed to his roommate, but here's the catch. That roommate is now unaccounted for. How convenient. So let's ask the real questions. What if Tyler Robinson's so-called confession was nothing but a distraction? What if he wasn't the shooter at all, but the decoy, a pawn in a much larger, darker game? And most importantly, if Tyler wasn't the real killer, who is still out there, walking free? If you're watching this right now, don't just scroll past. Hit the like button, share this video, and drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you believe Tyler Robinson was the real shooter, or just a decoy in a bigger plot? Your voice matters, and together we can push for the truth that isn't being told. Charlie Kirk, the 31-year-old founder of Turning Point USA and one of the most outspoken conservative voices in America, was speaking at Utah Valley University. For his supporters, it was another night of firebrand speeches. For his critics, another chance to protest. But before the event was over, gunfire erupted, panic, screams. And within moments, Charlie Kirk lay fatally wounded. The assassin had struck in the middle of a crowded venue, in front of hundreds of witnesses, yet somehow, the details of what really happened remain blurry. The official story came quickly. Police launched an urgent manhunt and within hours named their suspect, Tyler Robinson, a 25-year-old man from Utah. By September 11th, Robinson was in custody. Authorities said the case was airtight. Robinson was formally charged with aggravated murder, multiple firearms violations, obstruction of justice, and even witness tampering. The headlines wrote themselves, case closed, justice served. But then came the details that didn't quite fit. Prosecutors claimed Robinson had confessed, not in an interrogation room, but through digital footprints.
And anything new on the investigation? You say he admitted that, confessed?
No, not again. He is not confessed to authorities. He is not cooperating. But all the people around him are cooperating, and I think that's very important.
Filings revealed messages sent to his roommate, where Robinson allegedly admitted to the killing. One message reportedly read, "It was me at UVU yesterday. I'm sorry for all of this." Another described how he disposed of the weapon. But think about that for a moment. If this was truly a calculated murder, why leave behind a breadcrumb trail of confessions? Why confess in texts, then later refuse to cooperate with the FBI? And why do eyewitness accounts suggest there may have been more than one figure fleeing the scene? The official timeline, as presented by prosecutors, paints Robinson as a lone wolf who acted alone, confessed to his roommate, then stashed his rifle. But the deeper you look, the more that narrative begins to fall apart. On the surface, the prosecution's case against Tyler Robinson seems simple. They say he showed up to Utah Valley University with a rifle, fired the fatal shot that killed Charlie Kirk, then fled the scene. From there, the story goes like this. Robinson supposedly folded his rifle, a weapon designed with collapsible parts, ran away, and later ditched it. Prosecutors say he confessed to his roommate, leaving behind chilling text messages and even a note. They claim this is all the proof they need. But when you stop and think about it, the holes in this story start to get bigger than the facts themselves. First, the gun. The FBI says Robinson folded the rifle, ran with it, and somehow managed to hide it. But here's the problem. The very same rifle was later found near a chicken coop by an abandoned house linked to Utah Valley University. Locals who live nearby told reporters that law enforcement's explanation doesn't add up. How did the weapon magically travel from the crime scene to a chicken coop without anyone noticing? And if he truly ran with it, how did he have the time, under so much police pressure, to carefully stash it there? Second, the trap door. Investigators discovered what looked like a hidden trap door at the very point where Robinson was supposedly cornered. Could this have been an escape route? Was there another figure involved? Someone who slipped away while all eyes were on Robinson? If so, then what exactly did the police capture that night? The real shooter, or just the decoy? Third, the backpack runner. Video footage circulating online shows a man sprinting away from the area with what looks like a backpack slung tightly over his shoulders. Witnesses speculated that the bag could have held a gun. But here's the twist. That runner has never been identified. Was he an innocent bystander, or was he the real gunman, escaping in plain sight, while Robinson took the fall? Fourth, the confession. Yes, Robinson allegedly messaged his roommate, saying, "It was me. I'm sorry," but if that were true, why then did he refuse to cooperate once in FBI custody? Why admit guilt in private messages, only to shut down completely when facing investigators? That kind of contradiction doesn't make sense, unless he was covering for someone else. And finally, the roommate. Court records say Robinson's roommate was a key witness, receiving both the texts and the note. But here's where things get murky. Reports conflict about the roommate's whereabouts. Some say he's cooperating, others say he's gone quiet, even disappeared. If that's true, what is he hiding? And what role did he really play in this story? When you line up all these inconsistencies, the rifle, the trap door, the unidentified runner, the shaky confession, and the missing roommate, the so-called airtight case starts looking more like a puzzle with missing pieces. So here's the question we have to ask. Was Tyler Robinson really the assassin, or was he simply the distraction while the true killer slipped away into the night? As if the inconsistencies weren't enough, locals in the Utah Valley community are now raising even more disturbing questions. Candace Owens revealed that residents who live near the neighborhood where Robinson's rifle was supposedly discovered claim it wasn't found out in the open at all. They say it was stashed near a chicken coop, next to an abandoned house, a property allegedly connected to Utah Valley University itself. Now think about that for a second. Why would a shooter hide a weapon in such a suspicious, almost symbolic place? Was it a desperate attempt to cover tracks? Or was it planted there later, to make the story fit? Locals also say they don't buy the official version coming from law enforcement. They believe authorities are not being fully honest, that the narrative was tied up too quickly, that details were smoothed over to reassure the public while deeper truths were buried. And here's the thing, when the very community that lives and breathes this reality every day starts questioning the government's story, you know something doesn't add up. It's not just about where the gun was found, it's about how it was found, and why the authorities seem reluctant to release more information. Was the crime scene really handled with transparency, or was it controlled to keep certain facts out of the spotlight? This growing distrust isn't just rumor or conspiracy chatter. It's the voice of people on the ground, the very witnesses and neighbors whose lives were disrupted by the shooting. And if their version of events clashes with the FBI's, we have to ask, who benefits from silencing them? The locals' doubts now add another layer to this already tangled mystery. If Robinson really was the lone gunman, why does it feel like the community closest to the truth is being left in the dark? First, if Robinson confessed, why is he refusing to cooperate with the FBI now? Think about it. Prosecutors say he admitted guilt in private messages to his roommate. They say he even left a written note of remorse. Yet the moment he was in federal custody, Robinson went silent. No elaboration, no cooperation. If this was truly his crime and his alone, why clam up? Unless, of course, he was protecting someone, or being silenced himself. Second, the roommate. The roommate plays a central role in this story. He's the one who received the alleged texts. He's the one prosecutors are leaning on to tie Robinson to the shooting. But conflicting reports raise doubts. Some sources suggest the roommate has gone quiet, others that he might even be on the run. If that's true, what exactly does he know that we don't? And why isn't law enforcement being transparent about his role? Third, Tyler Robinson's family. Remember, it was Robinson's parents who first tipped off authorities, recognizing him from early reports. On the surface, that looks like a family doing the right thing. But here's the strange twist. The rifle used in the attack was reportedly a family heirloom, passed down from Robinson's grandfather. If the murder weapon has family roots, then how deep does this story go? Could there be a level of involvement, or at least knowledge, that hasn't been revealed? Fourth, the foreign connection. Let's not ignore the whispers. Some voices are asking whether Israel could somehow be tied to this shooting. Now, to be clear, there's no public evidence connecting Israel directly. But speculation arises because Kirk was reportedly in Israel just days before his death, and some say intelligence or ideological networks could have played a role. Is this coincidence, or is there a hidden thread no one's talking about? And then there's the wildest theory of them all. Turning Point itself. Charlie Kirk wasn't just any speaker. He was the face of Turning Point USA, an organization with deep political influence. Some are asking a chilling question. Did someone inside Turning Point stand to benefit from Kirk's death? Could Robinson have been manipulated, set up, or used as the fall guy, while power shifted behind closed doors? Again, no hard evidence. But when the official story feels so shaky, it leaves room for speculation. Finally, the timing. Some reports even suggest Robinson may have been spotted or tracked 20 minutes before the shooting in a completely different location, possibly even abroad in Israel. If true, how could he be in two places at once? And if not him, then who exactly was the man behind the trigger that night? These unanswered questions don't just poke holes in the FBI's case, they rip it wide open. And they leave us wondering whether the man in custody is truly guilty, or whether the real shooter is still walking free. So let's put all the pieces together and consider an alternative scenario, one that flips the official story on its head. What if Tyler Robinson was never meant to be the assassin at all? What if he was the decoy, the name and face presented to the public to close the case quickly, while the real killer slipped into the shadows? Think about it. The supposed confession looks shaky. A few texts to a roommate, and a note that could have been written under pressure or even fabricated. The rifle, allegedly hidden near a chicken coop, feels planted. The video of a man with a backpack sprinting away suggests another player in the mix. And that trapdoor, found at the location where Robinson was gunned down, that detail alone screams of a hidden exit route, maybe even a planned escape for someone else. Now add in the contradictions. Robinson folding the gun while fleeing, only to have it show up later miles away. A roommate whose testimony is central, but whose whereabouts are unclear. A family connection to the murder weapon that muddies the waters. And the fact that Robinson, after allegedly confessing, refuses to cooperate with investigators. Put all this together, and one possibility emerges. Robinson may have been set up. A patsy caught in a web far bigger than himself. A man positioned to take the fall, while those who truly orchestrated or carried out the shooting walked away free. If this theory is true, then the real shooter, or shooters, are still out there. Maybe tied to ideological networks. Maybe tied to Turning Point itself. Maybe tied to foreign interests. Or maybe just hidden in plain sight. Either way, one thing is clear. The official story doesn't add up. And until we ask harder questions, the real truth about Charlie Kirk's assassination may remain buried. Here's the truth. Mysteries like this don't get solved by waiting on official press conferences. Too often, the people closest to the crime, the locals, the witnesses, even digital detectives, like you, uncover details the authorities overlook or intentionally bury. That's where you come in. If you've seen footage from Utah Valley University that night, if you've spotted clips online of the man with the backpack, or if you've noticed any inconsistencies in the FBI timeline, share it. Drop it in the comments. Tag me on social media. Every video snippet, every photograph, every eyewitness account could be the missing piece of this puzzle. We've seen time and time again how collective eyes on the ground can crack open cases that seemed airtight. This might be one of those times. So I'm challenging you, my viewers, my fellow truth seekers, to look closer. Scour Twitter, TikTok, Reddit, even your local Facebook groups. If something feels off, if you find a clip or a detail that doesn't match the official version, bring it forward. Because until the full truth comes out, we can't assume justice has really been served. So here we are, 2 weeks after the assassination of Charlie Kirk, and the questions are louder than the answers. The FBI wants us to believe this was simple. One man, one gun, one confession. But the inconsistencies refuse to stay buried. A rifle hidden by a chicken coop. A mysterious trapdoor. A video of a man running with a backpack. A confession that doesn't line up with silence in custody. A roommate whose role is clouded in mystery. And maybe the hardest question of all, if Tyler Robinson isn't the real shooter, then who is still out there, free and possibly planning the next move? This isn't just about one crime. It's about truth, trust, and whether justice is really being served.